Hey, I'd love to get maybe like three thoughts from you as far as somebody's listening to this and they're either getting into sales or they think they might want to be in sales. Give us the freemium or almost free option of coaching, book recommendation, YouTube links you like, podcasts you listen to. Then give us the, hey, I can afford a couple $100 for group coaching. And then give us the high ticket item, like I'm all in, I'm ready to change my life. I have a lot of assets. I want to spend a couple $1,000s a month. So walk us through like somebody who's looking for coaching. I frankly don't even know what vertical you fall into. I don't know if you write a free newsletter and have like a $12 subscription program, or if you have 3 private coaching clients that pay you 10 grand a month. I have no idea. So give us kind of your like freemium, entry level coaching cost, and like I'm all in, I need a private coach. And then where do you fall in your business?
Great question. So I guess to start off with kind of at the bottom, like kind of working my way up within things, right? So the easiest way that I would say if someone is in sales, but maybe they're not quite ready to make the jump and go invest, 5, 10, 20 grand into themselves for the course of a year. Some great books that I think, so ones that I actually really highly recommend. Sam Taggart's actually a buddy of mine with the door-to-door space and D2D Con. He's a world-class salesperson. So I'd recommend following D2D experts on Instagram, social media. Feel free to reach out. I'll put some sales content on my stuff as well. It's the Schmitz, is my Instagram handle. The real Brad Lee, right? Brad's got some stuff that I really recommend. And then for sales books, there's a lot of them that are out there. The first one, as much as kind of gonna, double back myself here a little bit, but the 10X rule by Grant Cardone is the thing that I think a lot of entry level salespeople really need to read and understand, that mentality of just, look, it doesn't, Grant talks about how he was a drug addict at one point and then basically realized that if he had any available free time during the day, that he was going to relapse, and he didn't want that anymore. So he just had to keep himself extraordinarily ungodly busy on the whole thing. And he turned that into sales, and sales led to the real estate, and the real estate, and that's really where he's made a lot of his wealth now. Grant is another person I think people could probably follow up within that. I think it'd be really good. Same books and stuff we covered a little bit earlier. So I'd say probably start there. And then through that, start to notice who do they have on their podcast? Who are the people that they're interviewing? That'll just kind of start you down the rabbit hole, I would say, for someone that's really more like the free entry level space.
Yeah. And if I can add one recommendation there, The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes is one of my all-time favorite books. It's very academic. It's a very dry read, but I can't imagine anybody implementing I can't remember, it's 10 or 12 steps in Chet Holmes. He's since passed, and his daughter runs the company now. Chet Holmes, The Ultimate Sales Machine, just phenomenal book for anybody looking for the freemium or under $20 option. Yeah,
absolutely. It's interesting you say that. It's one of those things. It's so interesting to me to listen to a Zig Ziglar or, some of these guys that have been just kind of legends in the sales space, that have been around for a long time. You listen to some of their stuff and it's timeless, right? I mean, that's one of the reasons why it's replicable, is because these are truths and they exist for everybody, right? And something it doesn't have to be rocket science than that. When it comes to, kind of that, let's call it like the $200 to $500 like total investment somewhere in there, whether it's a couple $100 a month or, up to a couple grand a year. Different conferences and things that I think what I would really strongly recommend for almost anybody is whatever you can do to get the most expensive room that you can afford to get into. I would highly recommend getting into within that. And, it's one of those things, even whenever I changed industries twice and, inside of a pandemic and started my own company and did all these other things, not having a coach and not having some sort of leadership in my life has never been an option. So there may be lapses or lulls from time to time where I'm exploring different options or things, but, even to a point where I was having to sacrifice and, cut some things out of the budget, coaching was not something that was an option there, right? Than that. So the people that I found, I've been in a couple of different masterminds at the, probably $20,000 plus per year level. Some of the best relationships and some of the coolest people I've met, and some of the people that I can call up and there's movers and shakers and get things done. A lot of those friendships have come from those masterminds and come from those people.
Yeah.
And so I'd really strongly recommend, whether that's one conference a year, I'd recommend probably put 2 in the schedule. Can you go to 2 different ones? Can you spend, $1,000 or less on a ticket and $1,000 on travel accommodations? Can you get a few $1,000 in there? Another great way to do that, by the way, is through group seminars in some capacity. So occasionally I'll run boot camps and weekends, sometimes virtual, that are a couple $100 within that, just teaching on some of my best topics. Sometimes it's stuff that's a little bit more intense, and it's going to be more in person. You fly in for a day, do that type of thing. And those ticket prices individually can range anywhere from, 1,000 up to about $2,500, can depend on which one's going, what content's being covered. various forms and things of that. But I think group content in that sense is great. A lot of people now are putting out webinars and free content in that space as a version of lead gen. Implement that, dive in as much as you can, stay within there, within that realm. And then on the higher end, side of things, I think there's a time and place where premium coaching really makes sense. Not everybody's ready for it, so for example, I would fall into that category. So just as a ballpark price point, when people come to work with me, it's $1,500 a month. I'm going to say for that, it's a minimum of a 6-month commitment, within there with a 90-day mutual opt-out. I prefer to work with people for a year just because it gives me time to really dig in with them, get to know them, guide them in the right direction, and do things in that particular space. And there's people that charge a lot more than I do. There's people that have a lot shorter programs. I personally, my philosophy is that because I work with people on a one-on-one basis, I really care about getting them results. And it's really important to me that I can deliver results to that person, that they're getting more than they're getting more value and they're making more than they paid for, that they're getting a higher ROI than what they're paying me. Within that, and the person that's in that particular space, I would say if you're making probably 80 grand or more per year, you're probably a good candidate for that. 80 to 100K is probably when I think that level of mastermind starts to make sense. Assuming that you don't have any exorbitant other expenses or other things within there.
Right.
And then, for our super high level producers and people that are, for people that are performing at a, let's say it's $500,000 plus per year, $300,000 plus per year in annual income or more, or $1 million plus. There are some masterminds and some groups out there that are, $100,000 is the price of entry. Right. And really what people come to find, some of like, was the information really worth that? Yes and no, depending on what you do with it. But the main thing is that it's this artificial barrier to entry to be in that room with those people. Yeah. Right. It ensures that every other person that's there is actually serious about whatever that's going on. And the other side of it too, for those maybe they're in the coaching space or pricing their own products, the more someone pays, the more they pay attention. Yeah. Sometimes you can do a lot more for people just by, if I've got a coaching client, if someone's paying me, I'm paying $100 a month or $200 a month for a certain service. If I miss a call, it's not the end of the world. It's only a couple $100. Okay, whatever it is, I can go out and make that as a salesperson, right? Right. But if I'm paying a couple grand a month, you bet my butt I'm going to be there on time, early, ready, attentive. The people paying you as a coach is not just for you; it's for them actually, and how invested they are with that space. So I would say that, for those out there, there's probably some good starting points. There's no one end all be all. So if someone comes in and says, oh, every other sales method out there is completely bogus, and this new sales method is the latest great, and it's like, run. No, there's not. Yeah, run. Please. Right. There's someone that's actually, he's got some really good, I'll leave names out of it. I guess I don't want to throw shade here or get sued, but there's someone in particular that I'm thinking of when that comes to mind, where it's just like, oh, this new innovative way, right? And I'm like, okay, yes, and like, there's a million ways to skin a cat. Yeah, really, sales at the end of the day is just about connection and helping people get what they actually want. Can you deliver a desired end outcome, and really, at its core, a desired end emotion? Yeah, around whatever that thing is, right? And if you can help deliver that, help them feel really good about that, you'll have lifelong clients that love you. That those are relationships that you start to build, and you'll look up in a decade and be like, holy cow, how did I come this far?